Hey everybody, and welcome back. Whether you're picking up the Cymatics Slayer production suite today or you're buying it on its own, Cymatics' newest VST Shockwave is available now. So today we're going to be taking a deep dive and a first look into the brand new plugin, going over some of my favorite presets and features of Shockwave. Where right off the top, some of the amazing benefits of using Shockwave are no more searching through folders to find the right 808 sound, you just slap on Shockwave and get started. The vast library of bass sounds like a variety of different iconic 808s, synth basses like the Reese bass, and acoustic basses. And finally, my favorite perk about using Shockwave is that you don't need to worry about your samples being in key. It is not uncommon for samples to not be tuned to the key of C, which in some DAWs might make it very confusing when laying down your patterns. Here, you don't need to worry about that at all. Now, I was lucky enough for Cymatics to send me this plugin for free to test out for you guys, but no money has been exchanged for this video. So like always, this will be my 100% honest review. Now let's get into it. Alright, and I just got done downloading the Shockwave plugin, so this is definitely going to be a first look and reacting to it along with you guys. And for our test here today, we'll be looking at the track that I made for the Slayer beat contest. Turning off our mastering over here, and right now we're actually using an 808 from the Slayer beta kit, so instead just going over and replacing that with Cymatics Shockwave right there. I'm actually not going to be using headphones here. I feel like I need to be able to hear the bass, which I can definitely use a lot better on my studio monitors. Oh yeah, way deeper with the speakers. I feel like this particular 808 would go really well with some drums over it, so let's go and turn those on and see what it sounds like. Definitely suited for this kind of style. Now cycling through some of the other 808s. This would be really good for any sort of like melodic sort of track. Yeah, really good like short 808 here. That's perfect. Bit longer. Bit more synthetic. Really short 808. A lot of short 808s here. Do you guys prefer more short 808s like this one or something a bit longer? I know that longer, shorter, and different kinds of 808s fit different kind of tracks. And don't think that they're always interchangeable. I think that some do fit better than others. So it's good to see some variety here between some longer and shorter 808s. Ooh, this one's thumpy. It's already got a kick pretty much built into it here. Gotta be careful there when adding that on and layering it with your other kick drums. Okay, check out some other ones over here. I wanted to try and find like some really unique ones. Something like drill, maybe? Whoa. That's definitely different. This is what I mean though by not all 808s can fit on every sort of track. Like these just sound very out of place, but will go great with, as it says here, like a drill track. And as you can see over here on the 808s, we've got so many different ones to choose from. But we've got much more than just 808s inside of this plugin. We've got other categories like the Reese bass, a sub bass, synth bass, and then some other ones like Donk, various, and then your own presets over here. Let's go try out one of the Donks, see what happens there. This could be good for like a Travis Scott or like a Trippie Redd sort of track, like a rage beat maybe? For sure. Ooh, that's heavy. It's a chunky bass. We should try out some different tracks over here that fit these 808s and other basses a bit more too. So I actually made this beat a little while ago off camera just for fun, and here's a little bit of what it sounds like. And for now, using another Cymatics 808. So switching that on out now with Cymatics Shockwave. And the default track already sounds pretty good with it. Let's try some of these other donks over here. Like this sounds so good on this track. Ooh. Also really good on this one. Let's go and try out like a sub bass. Really deep, really rich. Ooh, warning is really deep. I like this one. So far right now for the subs, this one's probably my favorite one. Really nice. What about the synths over here? Ooh. I think this is supposed to be with like with like Kanye's simply just called Vultures 1. I've got to assume that's where the inspiration came from here. Like a riser almost, really cool. Try some of the Reese basses. Yeah, this already sounds really good. Reese basses, along with everybody else, is one of my favorite sort of bass sounds in any sort of music production. They're just so deep and adds a bit of movement to it that it's really hard to go wrong. can get a lot more experimental and unique. In your face. Which, by the way, if you guys are looking for more Slayer Production Suite content, go ahead and give that video a watch where I'm going over some of these samples and reacting to them, as well as I'll be covering even more Cymatics Slayer content in the future. Honestly, I'm really impressed with like the subs and the synth basses in here and the reese basses. I mean, 808s are always going to be like the bread and butter of like hip hop and everything, but these synth basses are pretty insane. Like with this Voyager synth bass over here, we can probably copy that on down and go get a sub bass to make it sound a bit deeper. Yeah, you can definitely layer these over here. So there's a variety of different bass sounds here that can go on any sort of track. You've got your 808s for something like hip-hop, synth basses for any sort of genre, and then more acoustic stuff like guitars and even horns. Alright, so let's pick an 808 that gets us pretty close to what we want over here. I want a sound that you guys can hear on like speakerphones, so let's go and try something like that. That sounds pretty good. We can definitely alter that one. Alright, that's going to be a handful of some of my favorite presets here in Shockwave, and now that we're done with all of that, it's time to go into the features and find out what make these presets possible. So to start off with the features, let's go over the 4 different macros over here. Let's play with the filter a little bit. The more that we go down, the more that you will not be able to hear as much, but you can still feel a lot of it. Especially in like this range over here. Like personally, I prefer 808s that you can feel more than you can hear. So I love this one, sounds really deep and rich. So the shape over here is going to be kind of like the length. We have a very long 808 over here at 100%. But dragging that on down, make it a lot shorter. Now for the noise, introducing some of that synthetic, warm sounding fuzz on top. Very tastefully though, it's not overdone at all. Width, a bit more separated like that, but I like my 808s a bit more mono actually. Sitting pretty close to the center of that mix. And now we can really increase the distortion and the character over here. You can really hear that difference, right? Right there sounds perfect. Okay, but now going on down to the bottom left, hitting the edit button right there, we can change up what these macros are doing. First of all, we can change up the sample, changing up the pitch. As you can see, the sample's in C#, so they naturally put it down by 1 semitone to fit that into C, making it very plug and play so you don't need to worry about that. You can change the start time. Get rid of some of that transient, the length. You can really make it fade in if you want to. So if maybe you like this sort of swelling effect, or the kick maybe is clashing with your 808, that could help, but I wouldn't really rely on that to fix your mixing. And we also have a loop over here, which you can change these certain looping points by dragging that across. I probably won't be using that too much in my case, at least not for 808s. Maybe for like a synth bass might work out pretty well. A glide. So if I press 2 different notes over here, we can hear how it glides now, which you can change the duration by switching that on up. That sounds pretty cool, actually. It could be like a riser of some sort. By having that really long glide, where you can cycle through some of the other samples over here, as well as include your own samples too. But I would really be sure to either create a copy of the stock sounds or create your own separate folder, that way you're not messing with the ones that came with the plugin. Moving on over to the envelopes over here, we've got your classic ADSR section, attack, hold, decay, sustain, release, and velocity, that you can apply that to the volume, pitch, and even the filter. So changing up these knobs over here can have a very creative effect, but also help out with your mixing as well. What I mean by that is, if your 808 and kick are clashing together, you can actually increase the attack a bit, so it'll start a bit later, getting rid of some of that transient. But again, do that to taste. Now going on down to the width over here, which we've got set at -100, which as we can see, if I move this one, it'll also change it down over here. This gets a bit more technical with the different sort of modes and tones, but it is pretty cool over here to see that at -100%, it's one straight line, but then increasing that goes all over the place, and that's very stereo, which I generally don't want. Synth basses are a bit different there, like reese basses can be a little bit more stereo, but 808s I like to really sit in the middle of the mix. And now for the noise, which we're sitting at 100%, we can change up the frequency, width, and amount. finally, the filter down over here. But also over here, filters are very important because it can mess up the tuning of your sort of track, if it's in key or not. So pressing this key tuning right here can help out with that. And how that can change for different sort of instruments like the reese basses over here. Hitting the edit button, we do have the same samples as we did with the 808s, as with all the other samples, but you want to go about that a bit differently because they are different kinds of instruments. Like I mentioned here, the width might be fun to go up a little bit more here. For sure. I like this synth bass over here. It's very wide and distorted, something you'd be using like a Kanye sort of track. And of course, we can save that preset if you want to use that one for a later date. Save as new preset, Sim Reese. Cymatics plugins are usually pretty simple and easy to use, and Shockwave is no different. It's very plug and play, allowing you to stay in that creative flow. So let me know if you guys are planning on picking up the Cymatics Shockwave plugin, whether that be if you buy the Cymatics Slayer production suite, or just buying it as a standalone plugin. For those of you that did pick up the Slayer production suite, I already have a couple other videos out right now if you want to go check those out. Go and give those a watch to see if you want to pick up your own copy of Slayer. There is a limited amount of copies left, so be sure to act fast.